everybody, it's Kaylin here at Full Purpose and Heart, and we have finished 1 week of school, of kindergarten. So I wanted to go through a couple of the things that we did in our classroom for the first week of school, some supplemental material that I put in, a couple of things I've decided to take out, and kind of how our schedule went for the first week. So if you're interested in this kind of topic, then stay tuned and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, my friends, I'm super happy and excited. We have finished our first week of kindergarten. I felt like I took, like 6 to 8 weeks prior to this last week of school, just like planning and prepping and organizing and visualizing how our schedule was gonna go. And for the most part, it went pretty smooth and as I had expected, but there was a couple of things that I decided to adjust and take out and that sort of thing to really accommodate and make it work for us. So I was gonna just share with you a couple of the tips that I did this week. So the first thing that I did is I wrote down my schedule on my whiteboard behind me that you can kind of see written back here. So I have the day of the week written on the top. I have the date written with month, day, and year, and then I have the date written numerically. So this is set up for August 1st, so it's 08/01/2017. I know you can't see that because it's so far away, so I just read it to you. And then kind of down this list that you can't really see are all of the things that we're gonna do that day and kind of in order, so that as we begin our school day, then I can make sure that I stay on task. So I had originally planned to have a circle time with my student before we started school as like a kindergarten circle time. But I found out that circle time was really, really short. So we talk about the day, we talk about the weather, we discuss the today and tomorrow and yesterday topics, and we briefly discuss about what we're going to be learning that day, the letter of the day and kind of some math skills, but they're pretty brief. And then from there, we move on to our scripture time and we read whatever scripture we have for that day. And if you saw my curriculum video, I'm pulling it out here. If you saw my curriculum video, then you'll know that we are using this is our curriculum for our Bible time. It's 1 year daily devotions. So we just turn to whatever page it is. We look up the scripture or the passage that is scheduled for that day, and then we look it up in the scriptures, and I have my son highlight it with a red pencil or whatever color pencil that he wants to find. So that's really how our morning begins. We have hello. A little body here wants to be in the video, as usual. Okay, so that's the beginning of our day. The rest, and every morning started the same way. So that went pretty smooth, and it also went pretty quick. We were usually done with that, all of that through scripture time within, about 15 minutes or so, okay? After that, we did our math section. Now, I had originally planned that our math, can you not do that, honey? It makes the camera shake. I had originally planned that our math was going to be about 30 minutes, a little like 10 or 15 minutes for a lesson and then 10 or 15 minutes to complete the assignment. We are working through the Horizons material or curriculum, so each day has one lesson. Well, these first several lessons have really been super simple for my son. So we get through it super quick. I do add a little bit of a lesson. I'm going to show you these pages here. I do add a little bit of a lesson before we do the work page. So I don't know, I'll have like some manipulatives that will count, or we'll look for shapes around the classroom and point to all the circles, or we'll point to all the squares, or we'll count aloud to 10 or to 20, or I'll have some flashcards and I'll show him the number of the flashcard and then he'll write the number on a whiteboard, that kind of thing, or just some simple like review stuff that we're doing since the lessons are pretty easy. These are just an example of some of the lessons. Again, this is the Horizon curriculum, and if you watched my 2016-2017 curriculum choices video, I'll link that above here so you'll know what curriculum I chose and why I decided to choose it. But this is just an example. This is lesson number 4, so we did this last week, and it's really simple. We talked a lot about these concepts through our preschool year. So he had to circle the shapes. He had to do the first and the last, the middle chocolate bar. He had to circle the number of hammers and the number of saws that are shown. We counted up to number 10, and then we practiced writing the number 2. 2 days of last week, we actually did 2 math lessons, and then the rest of the days we just did 1, and Friday we didn't have any school because we had completed all of our work. So that's kind of how our math lesson goes, and it's really not taking very long. We usually complete math within like 15 minutes or so. I suspect that that time will increase as we get bigger concepts and we start learning about addition and subtraction and number lines and that sort of thing. So right now for these first several lessons, it's been really easy concepts, kind of just a review, catch up kind of a thing. So that's how our math goes. After math, we have English. So I have, or phonics, it's more phonics, but I usually have like a little phonics lesson that we do. So that includes talking about whatever letter that we are doing that day or have done the previous days. Now we've only been in school for a week, so we only had 5 letters, but we did talk about vowels and consonants, and we're learning a lot about short vowel sounds versus long vowel sounds. So right now, in our first week of school, we were talking about the short vowel sound of A and O. Yes. So those are the 2 sounds that we're doing. And then we combined those with the letter consonants D and E and C, C, D, E. Again, I'm following the Horizons curriculum, so they are really telling me what letters we're going to do each day, and I'm just following that curriculum. We also, usually as a part of our phonics class or our phonics lesson, I'll include an additional activity. So I made a bunch of activities to help with the B and D confusion, because my son right now is having issues or kind of confusing the 2 lowercase letters. So we're talking about B has a belly and D has a diaper, and so this was like one of the many activities that I did. We did like a maze, and we did like a cut and paste kind of a thing. Anyway, so and then this particular one, we rolled the dice, and then whatever letter came up, that's what we marked off. So I did do that. I kind of threw those in a little bit, along with these are his phonics lessons that he gets from the Horizons curriculum. And this particular one is 2 pages front and back, so 4 pages total. And we practice like listening to the sound and saying the sound and circling the sound and writing the sound and that kind of thing. So the English lessons did take longer than our math lessons because, first of all, the activities are longer than the math lessons, and then I also included additional activities or games or whatever with that. So it took a little bit longer than usual. And then the last part that we did every day as a part of our phonics lesson is we are working on our phonics journal. This is something that I made, and it's following an interactive notebook style. So every day with whatever letter we were doing that day, then we did an activity with it. So this particular one, he was writing what is the short A sound and what is not the short A sound, and these are little pockets. And so this one says not A, it's in yellow, you might not read that, but this is a tub. So anyway, we did that. We did the letter B. I made this page, so he highlighted the vowel sound in each of the spots, and then we wrote it on the back. We did the letter D. This is a race to the top game, so it's like a spinner, and you put a paper clip with like a pencil on it. You spin it around and see which word gets to the top. And then he did, the letter O. O and C, I think. Anyway, so here's the letter O. This particular one comes from Carson DeLosa's Language Arts Interactive Notebook page. Okay, just a minute. And then this is the letter C that I made for this, and then he glued the correct picture underneath. Okay? Good job, Cameron. Okay, so this was kind of the last part that we did for his phonics this week, and it's been going really great. So, the last thing that I had planned was 3 days a week I was going to have him do a handwriting activity through his, I made this little writing journal for him, or this writing folder, and he was going to do a writing activity 3 days a week. Mostly because when I start my preschool classes, the preschool children will be doing a writing activity or practicing their writing 3 days a week. And in retrospect, I just decided that we're not going to do this until the preschool kids come in a few months, because I found like he was really writing a lot between our folders and our worksheets and our games and all this other stuff that I was doing. He was practicing writing the letters multiple times. And so instead of having him do, here, I'll just show you really quick. So in the writing folder, I've printed off a bunch of, in the beginning, kind of things like writing sentences. And instead of really handwriting, it was more of like a writing practice. Yes, he was practicing penmanship, but also how to write sentences, capital letters, finger spaces between the words, that sort of thing. So instead of having him do this additional writing activity, which I just felt was really redundant and not necessary, I cut this piece out of our curriculum for now, and instead I'm just talking about making sure he's putting finger spaces between everything and what a sentence is as he's doing his writing work in his from our phonics curriculum that we have with Horizons. So that really kind of rounds out our day, and then at the end of the day he plays computer games. So I have a couple of educational games, some that I just found that are free on the internet. abcya.com has several free games for various levels of education. Letter games and number games. Yes, he's playing that right now, so that's what we're doing, finishing up our school day. Okay, shh. And then, so he can do that. We have abcmouse.com also. We have Letter Factory. We have Letter School. Anyway, I have a couple of just educational games, and we kind of rotate through them. So at the end of the school day, he can take 15 or 20 minutes and just play some educational games on the computer while I clean up the classroom and get the classroom ready for the next day of school. So as a review, or like as a recap, the school week went really well. I kind of decided that I was going to be pretty relaxed on when we started, very kind of easy. I had these ideas of like, we're going to start every morning right at 9 o'clock and our chores are going to be done and we're going to be dressed and ready to go. But it's been a lot more relaxed. I'm in my last month of pregnancy, so I move a little bit slower than I think that I'm used to, or I don't know. I've been pregnant for so long, I forget what it's like to have energy. But anyway, so we kind of usually between 9 and 10 o'clock we start. Our school day usually takes about 90 minutes, more or less. So a lot less than I thought. I thought it was going to be closer to 2 hours, maybe a little more. But it's been nice that I can accomplish everything that I need to in the 2 hours that we have, or less than 2 hours. So that's been really good to kind of keep me organized. Just a minute, we gotta open the snack for the kid. Okay, so my last little thing is to help keep me kind of organized is I made this kindergarten lesson plan, and I still have yet to video record how I've organized my school year, but I do intend to do that. So as soon as I do, I'll put a link up on the top here for you with the eye in the sky so that you can click over to that, or you can just look at my homeschooling menu or whatever and find stuff. But anyway, so this is what I did. And as we went through the week, I highlighted as we completed lessons that I had planned, just so that I can make sure that A, I finished everything, and B, as I was preparing for the next day, I knew which activities that I had already kind of brainstormed and had the materials for and that sort of thing. So I just made this, and it's a little more, this section here is science and history. And we're not going to be starting that until October. So that I don't have any plans for that yet. And then on the back side, this is his phonics folder and the activity that we're going to be doing for his interactive notebook. And then just some extra space that I occasionally write like games or stuff down that I have or want to do. So anyway, so it turned out really great. It was a really great first week of school. And I'm excited for week number 2, another full 5 days. Now I'm hoping that kind of as we go, I'll only have, over the course of our 33 weeks of school that we're going to be doing this year, I'm going to mess up the number, but I think only 7 of them will be 5-day school weeks. And that'll get us through all of our curriculum by the end of May. So I'm hoping that most of our school weeks will finish all of our schoolwork on Thursday, Friday will be kind of like a catch-up day, stuff that we didn't finish. Maybe we didn't start on time or we were sick or something like that. Or we'll just be able to have like a field trip day, kind of a day off of academics, and be able to go and do something together on a Friday. So that's kind of the plan. And we'll see kind of how it goes. But as a first week of school, I'm really pleased it went well, and I'm excited we're trudging through week number 2, and hopefully we'll be able to have this same energy and enthusiasm when January hits. So I appreciate these weekly videos, or I'll do them probably every 2 weeks, but because then it keeps me on point, and it kind of encourages me to watch other mamas kind of go through their homeschooling journey. So anyway, hopefully you found this encouraging or helpful or useful. If there's something that I'm doing that you want a little more information on, the comments box section is open below. So feel free to leave a comment, and I can answer either materials that I'm using that you want to use or additional ideas. I'll also have my letter B and D confusion sheets on my webpage. It's on www.fullpurposeandheart.com. Those are free printables of just some activities that I make, so you can use them in your own teaching and education world if you want to. I have 3 different games that are in like a little PDF file, so I'll put those on my website, and you can use those if you would like to include those in your classroom as well. I think that's it. So if you have questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, because I will be doing weekly or bi-weekly updates of how our school week is going, along with other tips and tricks for homeschooling or mothering or anything else that I'm kind of doing in my life. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in today, guys, and we will talk to you in another video.